What is up, clean freaks and filthy friends alike? Filthy Dan coming at you for another film discussion. Today we're going to be taking a look at 13 Ghosts, the 2001 special effects laden film that is a remake of William Castle's 1960 film of the same name. I have a lot of heavy nostalgia for this film, so I'm going to try and not let that factor in as much, but we will see what happens. 13 Ghosts tells the story of Arthur Criticos, played by Tony Shalhoub, who inherits this nice glass house from his rich ghost hunting uncle, and he moves his family into this house, and we have a psychic there by the name of Dennis Rafkin, played by the great Matthew Lillard, and he was involved in helping hunt the ghosts that are powering the house. All the ghosts' power is generated from their souls, and that's what powers up the house. So that's a pretty cool concept right there. And this house overall is basically an offer that Tony Shalhoub's character could not really turn down because he had recently hit rock bottom with his wife dying in a house fire, and now he's falling behind on his payments for an apartment, which is really throwing him under the bus really bad. This film also stars Shannon Elizabeth, Rawdigger, I think is how you say the name. We also have Embeth Davids, another name that's almost impossible for me to say right. And we have F. Murray Abraham as Uncle Cyrus. The way this film opens up is really awesome because it opens up in a little junkyard where we have Uncle Cyrus and Dennis trying to capture the last ghost they need, and this ghost kind of dwells within the junkyard, and he's apparently the biggest, meanest of all the ghosts that they've had to catch, and it kind of sort of kills Uncle Cyrus in the process, and that's when we meet Arthur's character, and we kind of meet him in it's like a little, I guess, a flashback. The way this film is framed with its timeline is a little confusing sometimes, but we see him in his happy life that he's got going on with his wife and kids, and the camera slowly pans around to show the nice house slowly turning into this dark, gloomy apartment, and it's just overlaid with sounds of a happy family, and becomes a house fire, and the whole night at the hospital when his wife passes away. It's a pretty effective opening that kind of lets you know exactly where his character is at without beating you over the head with it, I guess. But yeah, one thing I really like about this film is the house design for the big haunted glass house. It's got all these moving panels, and it's almost like Cube in the sense that openings and passageways they put themselves in different places as the house shifts. So you could be going down this hallway, but a panel will come here. You can't go straight anymore. If you're lucky, you can go left. Just the way, all the work that had to go into designing this house, I gotta say, the special effects guys busted their fucking asses on it. Matthew Lillard is also another big positive about this film. He's really the star of the film in my eyes. He really chews the fuck out of every scene he's given. The ghosts in this film, I really like the way the ghosts look. They're not your typical like clear, translucent fucking ghosts that you just see in some horror movies. They're not the white sheets. They're actually pretty disturbing in their appearance because they look like they did at the time of their human death, which is fucking amazing. The thing I gotta say about the ghosts though is they don't really get a lot of screen time in the film. We don't really learn a whole lot about them outside of probably 2 or 3 of them. I know in the bonus features on the DVD, there's this little feature where you can actually get the ghosts' backstories, and that's not a lot of people watch the special features, so I don't know how many people know everything about all the ghosts and shit. But the ghosts are mostly well handled with their effects. The editing style, is something I'm kind of mixed up on. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like it's severely an epileptic editing nightmare. Um, like the way I look at it is, it's kind of Matthew Lillard's perception, because that's when it happens a lot. Is whenever somebody touches him, we see like 100 frames a second or something like that. I don't know for sure, but we see like a lot going on in front of his eyes, and there's flashing lights, and whenever ghosts are like 10 feet near him, we get this flashy cut, all these flashy editing cuts, and yeah, it's his character is sidekick, of course. So I try to look at it as something that's not only aesthetic, but it also kind of it adds to his character. So I'm not gonna complain much about that. Um, Most of the visual effects in this film actually look pretty good. Um, I know some of them were done practically, some were done with computer animation. Um, Again, the ghost design, great practical effect. Whenever the lawyer dies, that's a great effect. Um, like even during the junkyard scene in the beginning, there's this one guy who gets his fucking body pulled in between two cars, like because there's this big old stack of cars, and this guy's trying to climb up and hide up there or something, and he gets stuck, fucking slid between two cars, and it's the exact reverse of how Johnny Depp goes into the bed in Nightmare on Elm Street. Like he goes in like with his front side first, and he's folded in half. It's more reminiscent of the folding chair kill in fucking Jason Lives. The way he's just kind of bent backwards and whatnot. Absolutely horrifying to look at. Um, there are a few effects that kind of stand out as being a little goofy, like whenever I'll get back to that later. Um, Things that I don't care for in this film so much are going to be mostly nitpicky. Again, I mentioned how I don't like how the ghosts are kind of just there. They don't really give you anything to latch onto with them. Uh, Tony Shalhoub's performance in this film is one thing that I take kind of a half issue with. While I like him as an actor and I like his character, um, it really feels as though he doesn't seem to have his heart fully in this film, which is interesting because his character is supposed to have the most heart. He's supposed to be the one we get behind. And this is why I really feel like Matthew Lillard is the character that we grab onto, because Shalhoub kind of underperforms it. He's almost phoning it in. Um, and consequentially, he's the one of the least interesting characters in the whole fucking film. Um, Another one is Rawdigger as the babysitter, the live-in nanny that Arthur has in the film. Why? Why are you going to be having a live-in nanny if you were in financial dire straits? Also, does she live with them? I don't know. She's pretty much implied to live with them. Her work ethic, if you can call it that, is a no-go. So why they're even paying her is a question that just never really gets answered. She was a pretty much unnecessary inclusion in the cast, but it was kind of that point in horror history where we got to cast some sort of hip hop star. That's how we're marketing these horror films now. Again, the whole thing of her being paid by Arthur, um, I don't know if that reflects more on Arthur, because it's like, again, why are you paying this girl if you don't have money to pay your fucking rent? I guess it says more about him than it does her as a character. She's the main thing really is that she's not that great of an actress at all. I mean, her character has some fun, enjoyable lines, but outside of that, the movie could have done without her character, I think. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, my key factor in my judgment of this film probably will wind up being my nostalgia for it. Um, I mean, because we got this one on DVD shortly after it came out, and I would watch this every other day when I would get home from school, and I mean every freaking day. It was kind of a ritualistic thing that I would come home and put in 13 Ghosts, watch the special features, and rinse and repeat for the whole probably first and second grade school year. Um, so yeah, this one is kind of a pretty big deal of a film for me. I mean, it's been a pretty big part of my collection for fucking as long as I can remember. It's not even a guilty pleasure for me at this point. It's just one of those films that's like I need to have this in my collection or it's not complete. Anyway, like the film as a whole is actually pretty interesting with the story because of course he moves his family in and his uncle who's the famous ghost hunter is actually not dead, but he's trying to access something greater with the house because the house is revealed to be a machine that is it was quoted as being designed by the devil and powered by the dead. And what he's trying to do is use the power of the ghosts to open up the eye of hell, essentially. And the only way to stop that is for Arthur, essentially for Arthur, like to sacrifice himself to prevent that whole thing from happening, making him the 13th ghost. Um, the 13th ghost in its concept is basically an act out of love, or yeah, it's an act of love will be enough power to stop the machine from opening up the eye of hell. And right before Arthur makes the jump into the fucking crazy way the machine is going off right now, because all the ghosts get summoned to the center of the house where his kids are at, and like they're I don't know how to explain it. It's like a salad slicer or some shit, but all these discs are coming up and twirling around, and what Arthur has to do is kind of jump into that, and that act of love can stop the machine. But right as he's about to take his jump, he sees Cyrus, and he takes off these glasses that I fucking neglected to mention. They have to wear these glasses that allow them to be able to see the ghosts, which was kind of a riff on the William Castle film, where the original film was made in 3D, and the audience was given 3D glasses where they could choose to see the ghosts or not see the ghosts. But the point is, Arthur sees his uncle, and he's got his glasses on. He takes the glasses off, sees his uncle is still there, and he kind of counts up the ghosts. He's like, well, shit, there's 12 of them. If I'm the 13th, Cyrus is alive. So he goes and fights off his uncle, and, like, Maggie does her one useful bit in the whole film where she causes something in the little ritual thing to screw up and causes the ghost to come, grab Cyrus, and they throw him into the twirling discs of death. And I don't know, the effect of Cyrus getting chopped up looks pretty fucking goofy, but it took me a long time, honestly, and I'm ashamed to admit, but it took me forever to realize that the death of Cyrus in the twirling discs of death was the act of love to stop the machine. Because he was doing this out of passion. Maybe it wasn't for the best, but it was certainly an act of love that stopped the machine from opening the eye of hell and fucking destroys the entire house, nearly killing Arthur and his family. But or what's left of his family anyway. Um, yeah, this film, I really like it a lot. I'm kind of talking about it aimlessly, but there's one character in the film that I really like. It's she's Kalina, played by Embeth Davidtz, and she's kind of the I don't know, she's like a hippie who's out for ghost rights, basically. Um, yeah, she comes in like just before the halfway mark, I believe. Like we see her a little bit in the beginning, but she comes back near the end of toward the middle of the film, and she's coming in to help Arthur to stop the machine. But it's it's revealed that she's actually working with Cyrus, and it's a nice little double cross there. Um, One thing I really like that she carries around is this book. It's called the Arcanum, I think. Um, but yeah, this book always fascinated me, and this is something that I really got to say an extra fucking props to the production designers. I don't know if they filled this book all the way, but like when you see her flipping through it, you see all kinds of pages just done up in old style Latin. Um, there's a lot of this book is like probably this thick, and that's one thing I've always kind of wondered is was the book filled out all the way, or was it just the pages they needed for filming? But either way, props to the production design for working on that book. That's honestly that's something I wouldn't mind owning. Would be a copy of the Arcanum all the way filled out. Um, but yeah, it's got all kinds of informations on how to build the house and the ghosts and the purpose of each ghost that needs to be captured to fill out the machine. And that's another thing that I really got to say about the ghosts is awesome. Not only do they have their own visual motif, but they're all pre-selected with having a certain fate that allows the Eye of Hell to open up, and that's just something that's really fucking awesome. One other thing I gotta say is I would totally love to see whether it's like a mini series or just 12 individual films, but like little prequel films about the ghosts. That would be the shit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't always like prequels, but these are prequels that need to fucking happen. Um, so let's move on to the filthy features before I rant this film to death. Um, as always, we go with the favorite kill, and my favorite kill in 13 Ghosts is, surprise, surprise, the lawyer. Whenever the lawyer's fucking going to get his payment, and he winds up starting up the whole process of the machine house, um, he made a remark to one of the ghosts, and her little cube opens up, and she approaches him, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he's kind of taking a couple steps back, and these two sheets of glass just fucking close in on him, like right in the fucking centerpiece of his body. And at first, it's like, "Whoa, what happened there?" And you kind of see his tie fall down, you see his glasses fall off, and then his front half starts just sliding down the glass, and we see the backside of him, just like the inside of his backside. It's fucking gnarly effects. I love it. And the best part about that is when his front half is sliding down, you see his eyes kind of moving back and forth, and his jaws kind of. That was just a nice little touch there. Um, as far as the smutty sightings go, there's a ghost that we get to see quite a few times in this film called the Angry Princess. She is in the full nude, and yes, she's got slices all over her body, which I don't know, I guess kind of kills the mood that she could have otherwise kind of set out across for everybody. But according to her special feature, emergency service people who found her said she looked as good in death as she did in life. And, I mean, if it's still warm. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and please be sure to fuck. So, in closing, I just gotta say, 13 Ghosts is a film that I cannot find anything to really outright hate in the film. Perhaps I've just watched it too many times, and the rose-tinted glasses are just firmly affixed to my face for this one. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I know it's kind of garnished a cult following in the last 20 years that it's been out. I'm aware that there's also a Scream Factory release, which I'm fucking ready to get my hands on here very soon. But yeah, 13 Ghosts is just an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. If you've seen it and you love it, let me know exactly how you feel about that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video. Please subscribe to the channel also for further content. I'm also in the middle of a Halloween review series with my good friend Chris Snyder. Definitely be sure to check that out on both of our channels. Also, if you're feeling extra filthy, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Should ghosts have rights? As always, stay filthy.